present the story of a man whose pursuit of excellence and dedication to hard work has seen him rise from humble beginnings to the pinnacle of success in today's corporate world. Chief Olusegun Osunkeye, OON OFR, Officer of the Order of the Niger and Officer of the Federal Republic. From humble but impeccable ancestral pedigree, Olusegun Osunkeye was born to Pa Joseph Osunkeye of Ijemo, Abeokuta, and the virtuous and respected Madam Dorcas Taiwo Osunkeye. Olusegun Osunkeye was from early childhood instructed in the way of the Lord, as his parents were devout Christians. He also had the unique privilege of attending what was and still is arguably Nigeria's finest secondary school, King's College, Lagos, from 1954 to 1958, the beginning of his unhindered trajectory to success. While in school, the young Osunkeye discovered his exceptional aptitude for figures, and this propelled him in 1959 to decide on a career in accounting.
I got to know him as far back as February 1959, which is the best part of 54 years ago. He was one of the young students living in King's College who applied to my firm, at that time known as Akintola Williams & Co. It's now called Akintola Williams Deloitte. And of course, of them all, Mr. Osunkeye came out top in terms of brightness, in terms of the way he answered my questions and questions raised by one or two other partners of mine. So it was more or less a direct recruitment from his college. King's College has a good reputation, as you all know.
In 1961, he was accepted to sit for an intermediate professional accounting qualification at the Nigeria College of Arts and Science and Technology in Ibadan, an exam that he passed with flying colors. From the Nigeria College of Arts and Science and Technology, Olusegun Osunkeye devoted a further 2 years to professional training at yet another respected firm of professional accountants, Pitt Mawick, Castleton, Elliott & Co., following it up with a tenure at the famous College of Commerce, Winsbury, Staffordshire, where he studied for his final professional exams in accounting. After successfully passing the final examinations of the Association of Certified and Corporate Accountants, ACCA, as well as the exams of the UK Institute of Taxation in 1965, Chief Osunkeye worked briefly in the UK for a reputable firm of chartered accountants. In the same year, the newly qualified accountant, tax practitioner, and upwardly mobile Osunkeye married his sweetheart, the beautiful Modupe Abosede Shoyoye. Having finished his education, Osunkeye was now ready to launch himself into the world of corporate business. Upon his return to Nigeria in 1967, Osunkeye took up his first employment with other companies before finally joining Nestle Nigeria PLC, then known as Food Specialties Nigeria Limited, in February 1972 as a management accountant. This marked the beginning of a journey that was to span over 40 years. A journey that will see Nestle Nigeria grow from 12.7 million naira turnover in 1973 to 116.7 billion naira turnover in 2012.
His tenure has been a very prosperous one that has added value and that has boosted the image of the capital market, especially in terms of returns to investors' money and investments in the company Nestle Nigeria PLC.
Nestle Nigeria PLC was established in Nigeria in the early 20th century as a trading company and began industrial business in Nigeria in 1971, only a year before Osunkeye joined the company. The management of Nestle was quick to observe that Osunkeye was a man with a vision, a man who had a clear, vibrant picture of where to go as well as a grasp of what success looked like and how to achieve it. Consequently, in November of 1972, Olusegun Osunkeye was promoted to the post of Finance and Administrative Manager, and by 1st of January 1973, he was appointed as Executive Director in charge of Finance, Accounts, Costing, Budget, Distribution, Personnel, Supply and Administrative Services. He also doubled as Company Secretary between November 1972 and July 1979. His dedication and reputation for hard work caught the attention of his superiors in Nestle headquarters in Europe and opened the doors of opportunities for international experience as top executive of the leading multinational.
I got to know about him nearly 40 years ago, but I got to know about him on the pages of the newspapers first. The company he was working for at that time was Nigerian Food Specialities, and there was an announcement in the newspapers that he was being sent to Southeast Asia for training as a management, what they call in the International Management Exchange Program. And I was excited. I wrote a letter to congratulate him. I've never met him physically, but when I read it in the pages of the newspaper, I wrote to congratulate him and to wish him well.
His experience in Europe and the Far East prepared him for implementing the reorganization of the sales and marketing structure in Nestle Nigeria.
When he came back, he took on very, very high positions as Deputy Managing Director. I saw him as somebody very humble, unassuming, but very dedicated to the task of lifting the company.
By June 1988, Chief Osunkeye was promoted to the post of Managing Director Nestle in Nigeria, a position he held until 1991, after which he was made Managing Director and Chief Executive, thus making corporate history as the first Nigerian Chief Executive Officer of a multinational food processing company to date.
Straight out of school, I had thought that I had escaped the point where the teacher would put red biro on your assignment, and here was I, 15 years after leaving primary school. I was faced with the same thing, where if you sent in a memo and there was something wrong with it, Chief had the pleasure, I must say, to put red biro, and this helped, I must say, over the years to ensure some form of excellence in things, documents you took to him. You had to take time to read those documents, or else you were going to get a red biro circled on those papers, and it was not quite a pleasant thing.
During the 8 years between 1991 and 1999, when he served as Managing Director, Chief Executive, Nestle experienced exponential growth in market share and infrastructure.
Well, 15 cover was a lot of money in 1980, but having said that, Nestle has done extremely well to have grown from 15 cover to 20 now today, because I don't know that many companies who've achieved that kind of feat. That is incredible growth, and it's all credit to the management of Nestle, led by Chief Osunkeye.
I came into the company where we're just exiting from our current site to this magnificent factory we have in Agbara, and I had the pleasure of being one of those that were witnesses to the opening of that factory. The other landmark thing was the distribution center. I believe, as Chief himself shared with us at some point, he actually went against the decision of policy makers and decision makers in Switzerland, and today Nestle Nigeria is better for it, for this distribution center that was put in place.
After the eventful tenure as MD CEO, which Chief Osunkeye voluntarily relinquished in 1999, he was prevailed upon to take up the chairmanship of the board of Nestle in June 1999.
Well, I know Chief Osunkeye as a technocrat. That is, his background is accountancy, as well as they say in Nigeria, boardroom guru.
It is also worthy to note that having been appointed to the board in 1973 as an executive director, Chief Osunkeye also went on to become the MD CEO for another 8 years and proceeded to being the chairman for another 14 years, making him the longest serving board member of any multinational in Nigeria to date. Given his overwhelming responsibilities at Nestle, one would think that Chief Osunkeye would have no time for other areas, but not Chief Osunkeye, who combined his successes at work with equal success as a father and husband. Chief Olusegun Osunkeye and his adorable wife Abosede have nurtured 5 lovely children who are all doing well in their chosen fields. To his credit also, he was Chairman, Manufacturers Association, Ikeja Branch, 1995 to 1996. National Vice President, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Honorary Life President, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Past President, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association. Past President, Association of Food Beverages and Tobacco Employers. Past Chairman, International Chamber of Commerce, ICC, Nigeria. In recognition of his illustrious meritorious service and outstanding contributions through the private sector to the industrial, commercial and agricultural development of the country, he was conferred with the national honor of the Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON, in 2003, an Officer of the Federal Republic, OFR, in 2011, by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chief Osunkeye is also the chairman of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion Property Management Development Committee. Chief Osunkeye was also visibly active as a community leader and was subsequently honored with a chieftaincy title in Egbaland in 1990.
I would like to describe Chief Olusegun Osunkeye, the Babalaji of Egbaland, whom I always like to ascribe the Babalaji of Nigeria to, as an uncle, a friend, a good chairman, and a respecter of shareholders' value.
A man who loves his golf, Chief Osunkeye also volunteers his service to the Faith Foundation, as well as acting as volunteer facilitator at the Lagos Business School of the Pan-African University in Lagos. With all these achievements, there is no doubt this iconic achiever must have some profound guiding principles on his philosophy of life.
I had nothing but satisfactory report of his ability, his work, his morality, his honesty. In every respect, he's a man that I've always had the highest respect for.
I have found him both competent, reliable, and friendly.
After 27 years at the helm of affairs at Nestle and 14 years as chairman of the board of directors, Chief Olusegun Osunkeye, OON, OFR, foremost business leader, a man of integrity, a man of character, and a man who delivers results, has not only proved to be a leading light in the corporate world, but has indeed left gigantic and clear footprints for all to follow. And with pride, we at Nestle raise our hats in salute to this great achiever.
With a great sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. May Nestle Nigeria and all connected with it shareholders and other stakeholders, employees, business partners, distributors, suppliers, and service providers continue to prosper in the years ahead.